OK， 今日喺我身邊就係 Stevely 啦，係我哋 Elgrove 市嘅市長。咁啊，啱啱我已經收到 Elgrove 嘅一份我哋選民登記表格啦，就已經係見到佢個名喺上面。咁如果大家認為佢嘅講説話係有幫助到大家 ，if you think that Stevely is helping us for getting our right, please vote Stevely for these elections. So this is our mayor, City of Elgrove.
Thank you. And my Mandarin is terrible. My Cantonese is worse. My English is pretty good, so I think I'm just going to stick to English. I hope you don't mind. I wish that I would have listened to my parents and gone to Chinese school so that I can speak properly, but I unfortunately didn't listen. And so that's the reason why I'm fluent only in English. So thank you so much. How many of you are from Elk Grove? Me. Okay, there's a good number. So I have some lawn signs coming. You should, grab one and put it on your yard if I can convince you to support me. What's real important in Elk Grove is that we are a city that's very diverse. About 20 years ago when I moved into Elk Grove, I was predicting that Elk Grove, honey, you can go ahead and bring lawn signs in.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I moved into Elk Grove, my prediction was that because as Asians, we love good feng shui. We like brand new houses because there are no ghosts in the house. It's good positive energy. I joke about that because I've met so many real estate agents that have written into real estate contracts that to ensure that nobody has died in the house or the house is not haunted. We joke about that, but we understand that feng shui is real important. We have to make sure that there's positive energy for a place in which we live. Elk Grove became that very natural place. I moved down to Elk Grove because I wanted a brand new house. I wanted to buy the house that would turn a certain way, that would face a certain way, so that I would have positive energy in my family. Many of you understand that. That's why we picked Elk Grove. Not only that, but we've also saw Elk Grove launch schools that are virtually brand new, and Elk Grove Unified continues to have one of the best school district in the state of California, if not in the whole entire United States. So many of you, your grandchildren, your children that goes to Elk Grove schools are already benefiting from exceptional schools. The other thing that I want to highlight particularly in Elk Grove is the fact that we have a wonderful city that's very safe. You live in Elk Grove, if you call the police, they're going to show up. We spend a lot of money. We spend 60% of our annual budget on law enforcement. We want to make sure that we have enough police officers to address any of the issues that arise in the city of Elk Grove. My prediction of Elk Grove is right now we're at about 26-28% Asian Pacific Islanders. There's a lot of Asians down there. That's why there's an Asian mayor, right? And so I think I benefited from the fact that there are a lot of Asians there. My hope in doing some things that would benefit the Asian community is I want to see shops like this, like Pegasus Bakery in Elk Grove. I want to see like an SF in Elk Grove. So those are things that I'm currently working on with the SF owners to see how we can actually bring SF into Elk Grove. There's Ranch 99. There are all these markets that we should have the same size as what we have in here in Sacramento and Elk Grove, but we haven't done that. Slowly, we will move in that direction. We got Vampire Penguin down in Elk Grove. That's a good thing. Now everyone loves it. We got to get a big supermarket down in Elk Grove. We got to get these Hong Kong style bakery in Elk Grove. We got to get more than just one dim sum place in Elk Grove. We have that large restaurant, but I think we can handle a little bit more than just one. So these are some of the things that we can add culture to the richness of Elk Grove. Each and every one of us may have a story unto ourselves. I came to this country as a product of the Vietnam War. And so coming to this country as a product of the Vietnam War, I'm very mindful of the fact that Americans here in the United States are immigrants and refugees. You've heard negative rhetoric about how America is no place for refugees or immigrants. I say that's nonsense. We look to the Statue of Liberty, and on the inscription on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty talks about bringing the poor, the weak, and the huddled masses across the world so they can come here to the United States. That's why I'm running. I'm sick and tired of people telling me that because I look different, I don't belong here in America. I have no time for that. I think America is better than that. Because when we look to the population in Elk Grove, we realize and acknowledge that Elk Grove is the 7th most diverse city in the United States. I'm proud to be in Elk Grove. I'm proud that all of you are Elk Grove residents. And I think that this is our chance to really build Elk Grove to be inclusive. We have the medical school down in Elk Grove. We have the pharmacy school. We have a psychology school. We're talking about a nursing school and a dental school. I'm working with the university to try to get a hospital in Elk Grove. Our children, we want them to be doctors. They can go to Elk Grove schools and they become a doctor. They can live right down the street from mom and dad. That's great. I want that. You know, and those are things that I'm working hard to try to bring to Elk Grove. We love our schools, we love our university. We have to make sure that our city is safe, and we have to make sure that we're very inclusive in the work that we do. So you should have received your ballot already. Make sure you write down Stevely. It's not Steve Lai, because I don't lie. I'm Steve Lee. From French Indochina, right? Ly is Lee, it's French. And so that's the reason why I write Ly, just like many of you, right? People forget that. It's pronounced Lee. And you know, I'm here to talk to you about and encourage you to get involved civically. It's so important that we engage civically. Many times, we are seen as very polite people. We go in and we work with what we're given. We don't fight. We don't want to, cause a ruckus. And by doing that, the general community have accepted that whatever they do, we accept. Even though we're not happy, we learn culturally to not fight, right? In America, it's different. We don't fight, we're going to be overlooked. That's the reason why Asian Pacific Islanders are running for public office. That's the reason why it's so important for me to return to public office. I want them to know that an Asian person can be mayor too. I'm tired of going to events where when I go with my staff, who happens to be a Caucasian, when they introduce the mayor of Elk Grove, everybody looks to him. And so implicit bias in their head, people can't imagine that the mayor could be a short, chubby Asian guy. And then when I think about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, we as an Asian Pacific Islander community need to be active. We need to vote. We need to make sure that people know that we vote. And we need to vote together as a bloc. That makes us strong. We cannot divide ourselves, into little bits and pieces. We can't say, well, you're Chinese or you're Vietnamese, so I'm not going to vote like you, or you're Cambodian. We can't do that. Us Asian Pacific Islanders, when somebody else looks at us, we all look the same. They don't make any distinction as to their difference. So I say, fine, so be it. If they're going to say we're the same, just make sure that our politician that we put in public office is responsive to us. I'm here because I care. I'm here because all of you are constituents. And some of you may not even live in Elk Grove, which is okay as well. I also want you to vote. You voting means you're empowering yourself. You're exercising your rights. We come from other countries at one point or another, right? We come from countries that may have oppressed us. I came from a country that didn't allow my family to vote. The moment I became a citizen, the moment my father became a citizen, he voted in every election. That's what I want us to remember. That it's okay for us to be loud here in America. Many of your kids are loud, right? Your kids, they grew up here, they're trained the American way. My kids have no fear of speaking. When I was a young child, I was so scared to go up to somebody and speak to them, or to go up in front of a classroom. It's very intimidating. That's because we're raised differently. But here in America, we have to embrace the American culture. We have to be fully acculturated. And by virtue of doing that, the one thing that you can do is vote. Vote every time, vote frequently, make sure you know your candidates, and make sure you vote for the person that you feel that can do the best job to represent you. And that's what America is all about. We come to this great country. We still have connections to our relatives abroad, but they have to understand that where we stand here in America is that we can criticize our president. I was in China, and I was talking to many of my relatives there, and they were asking me, they go, well, what do you feel about Donald Trump? And I said, you know, I respect the office of the presidency, but I disagree when Donald Trump talks bad about immigrants and refugees, because his wife is an immigrant. You know, he has no consideration for that. All of us are immigrants or refugees at one point or another. So those are the type of things that are real critical, that every time we talk about America, we talk about the fact that we can criticize our president and not be imprisoned. Everyone in China had no criticism about the president. And I said, it's okay, you can criticize your president. They go, no, we can't. He's perfect. And I said, okay, then my turn. I don't like my president's policy on this. And they go, aren't you scared that you might be arrested? And I said, no, freedom of speech. That's what is guaranteed in the United States. And I'm so proud of that I can stand right here before you, being recorded, and saying that I disagree with policies that this President Donald Trump's administration has been pushing out. I do that and I have no fear. Only in America. Nowhere else can we do this.
We want, I think most of the, here, we want to know what is your stand for Proposition 10?
Proposition 10?
Yes.
So usually I stay out of the state proposition because my race is local. And so I tell voters this: vote your conscience, whatever you feel and supportive of. Vote it based on how you feel it would benefit you as a voter. Now, I like to stay out of it because I have supporters that are yes Prop 10 and no Prop 10. So if I have a position on it, it's going to hurt people's feelings. And so where I stand is, how does this impact the city of Elk Grove immediately? Right now, we don't have rent control. Right now, we have beautiful homes in Elk Grove. And where I stand right now is I support both sides regardless of what their positions are. So that's where I'm at.
I'm the one that met you last time.
Oh, yes.
So I invite everybody to meet you. Maybe you are not familiar with the Proposition 10. So let me tell you, sorry, you are mayor, I tell you, because a lot of people, especially in Sacramento, the rent control is not bothering you guys.
Right.
But knowing that if this proposition, passed, then the impact will be huge to the Elk Grove and Sacramento, because first of all, the rent right now, wherever the landlord want to charge, can be any price. But if this Proposition 10 pass, then for example, some house may be rent for $1,000, then even though the tenant move out, they still have to go back to the $1,000.
Yeah, it's got to be competitive.
Yeah,
it's got to be the market value.
The market value. So it's not good for the landlord.
It hurts the owner, the landlord.
Yeah,
right.
because we need to hire maybe contractor to fix our house, and then contractor cannot make money, then they don't come. Then the house would be run down. You don't want your city be run down city, right? And also the business people, they cannot afford the high rent, but we landlord have to raise the rent, because if the minute November 6th, we know this Proposition 10 passed, the homeowner have to raise your rent. Okay, I'm sorry, you have to raise your rent, because tomorrow, one day later, then they realize, oh, Proposition 10 passed. Then you'll be in trouble. You cannot raise the rent. And when Elk Grove is a new city, everything is booming up. And then if the rent cannot up, then doesn't match with our life standard.
Right.
Okay, and also it will be influencing the community. Become, first of all, San Francisco people would not come to Elk Grove to buy the house. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you have a very good point. No, I recognize that, and I have studied it a little bit. One of the things that I am firm on is this does not solve our housing crisis in the state of California, and certainly in Elk Grove. Elk Grove, we have beautiful new homes, but the people who build the homes in Elk Grove can't afford to live there. What I am suggesting is that we put more effort into making sure we have an inclusive policy on having homes. I'm also in the position of not interfering with owners who want to rent their homes for a certain price. I think it's wrong for government to get engaged heavily, to get to the point where homeowners can't really exercise their right over their property. So I'm very aware of that and very cautious in how government approach that. But what's more importantly in the city of Elk Grove is we just recently have pushed forward to partner up with a private builder to build affordable homes in Elk Grove. In addition, I brought back for the U.S. Conference of Mayors a grant to develop a system in which renters can apply at one place and be matched up with a number of landlords and availabilities. Now, the reason why I mentioned these two things is because what we're after a place for people to live. We want people to have homes that slowly will move from an apartment to a home. And when they move to a home, we want them to buy. If you buy a house, it will benefit the city more than if you're a renter. So the bigger issue here, the underlying issue is inclusive housing, affordable housing. How do we balance it so that you have an owner who wants to come and buy a house? Yeah, they can buy a house. That owner wants to rent it out? Yeah, that owner can rent it out. But what about those people who need houses? We should have something aside for them so that they can actually be able to live in Elk Grove. Because Elk Grove is one of those cities in which people want to live there. It's safe, it's got great schools, and the opportunities that would come with living in a city like that. You can walk your streets, you can go and exercise in the park, you can do Tai Chi in the park. I mean, these are things that I think that would be beneficial to developing the culture of Elk Grove. The crisis that we see regionally and also nationwide is the increase in homelessness. And so in the city of Elk Grove, we alone in the city of Elk Grove have 300 homeless in the city of Elk Grove. They're living in our creeks. They're living under bridges and wherever shelter that they can find. It is, to me, an issue of concern. But the greater problem here is to develop different levels of housing so that people can actually live in them and be able to afford. So I appreciate your explanation, but I think that the bigger problem is really more inclusion approach as opposed to yes or no on Prop 10. Both proponents of Prop 10 and opposition to Prop 10, they both agree this is not a quick fix. This is not something that will be able to solve it. My suggestion, if this is not a quick fix, then why are we doing this? We should find a fix and then make it permanent. You have a very good point, because a person who is a homeless, there are multitudes of problems that have caused that person to be homeless. It's not just living in a house, right? You're right. And so that's part of the reasons why I'm a strong advocate. It's not just housing that will be able to solve it. You can put a person in a house, but if the person is a drug addict, they're going to take that money and still spend it on drugs. So the best approach is to really have an inclusive policy that will be able to tap into the different resources so that we can have drug counseling, we can have training for jobs, we can have housing. That's one of the things that I proposed in Elk Grove. I'm proposing a community workforce development or training agreement. And the idea with that is to have training programs for people who need jobs, people who want to change jobs, for young people who may say, I don't want to go to college now, but I want to go and work for 1 or 2 years before I go to college. Or for the veterans that are coming from the battlefield who need job training. I'm pushing hard on that. I want programs that are in place where if we were going to build like the aquatic center in Elk Grove, we need to require that a certain percentage of those jobs are actually from apprenticeship program, from people who maybe are on the verge of being homeless or are coming out of homelessness. These are efforts in which we have to really be mindful of having a continuum of service, not just one thing, but multiple things, so that we can help people who are in that situation. So your point is well taken. So business or residential?
Actually, residential is high, and
Okay.
business is super high too.
Right. So your question is a multiple question. So let's talk about the incentive programs that we have for businesses. The two that we have in place, one is specifically for breweries and wineries. If you are an expert at making beer or making wine, you want to come to Elk Grove, we have incentive programs that are in place. We have mini grants, we also have loan assistance for the business, for somebody who wants to move in and start it from scratch. So that's something that we have in place. I've championed that, I'm a big supporter of that. We still have money, and if you are an expert in making wine and beer, feel free to come. The reason why that's important, the reason why we champion that, is not because of the fact that it's alcohol. The reason why we do that is because we want people to come and hang out in Elk Grove. If you're hanging out there with a family, having dinner, and you have a beer at a special craft beer house, there's a high propensity for you to stay there, and there's a high propensity for you to stay there and spend money. So that's one of our plans. The other thing that we just released is a technology incentive program. Any new startup, if you are the future Apple, the future Google, the future Amazon, and you are doing something in your garage, we also have financial and technical assistance for you. Grants up to $120,000 to help these entrepreneurs start business in the city of Elk Grove. This is something I'm real proud of, because Elk Grove, what we have in Elk Grove is one of the biggest employers is Apple. And so just this week, Apple just released the news that they are expanding. They just bought a building adjoining them, brand new, and that building is going to be offices. It's going to employ about 100 people. The other thing is we just had a business coming to Elk Grove that's going to be investing $24 million. It's a tortilla business. More on the lines of manufacturing, obviously, food, but nonetheless, it's about 200 jobs that are coming to Elk Grove. So these are things that are coming because of negotiated incentive programs with them. Now, what I'm big about is really supporting this hospital in Elk Grove. I think with the partnership with Dignity and with the university, we have the potential of putting 2 hospitals in Elk Grove. Putting hospitals in Elk Grove is a big economic driver. If you think about it, what is involved in healthcare? If you're sick, how much are you going to spend to get better? I spend everything I have to get better, right? That's how much we want to stay alive. So logically, if you're thinking along that, I hate to even say it, but people are in a situation where they are sick. They're going to spend as much money as possible so that they can be alive. This is an opportunity for us to look at that and say, how do we keep a person alive, keep the cost affordable, but at the same time also use it to develop jobs and to develop a place in which people can go. Dignity Health, who already have a property zone for a hospital, they're talking about creating a special hospital that only works with children, pediatrics. And so we could potentially have a hospital in Elk Grove that specializes in any sort of young person who's sick. That then puts Elk Grove on the map. The hospital with the university could easily become a training center for nurses, the nursing school that I've been talking about on a regular basis. That nursing school need to have a place in which they can train nurses. We need to have a hospital for that, otherwise the nurses won't have any place to train. There's a shortage of nurses in the United States. We have nurses in the Sacramento region that fly here once a week from Arkansas, and they do that every week. And so if you look at that, we are facing a healthcare crisis where a lot of these professionals are aging out, they're retiring. We need to develop a workforce. And this is just being smart in looking at what do we have, what comparative advantage we have in Elk Grove that we can actually do to attract jobs, attract people to Elk Grove. So those are some of my thoughts that I have in terms of attracting business. The other thing is, I've sat down already. We're talking to bring a drug and medicine and vaccine manufacturing firm to Elk Grove. The pharmacy school in Elk Grove has about 9 patents. One of those patents is a vaccine for the peanut allergy. You've heard many young people who reacted negatively and have died just based on exposure to peanuts. We have a vaccine in Elk Grove. We're on the verge of releasing it. We're on the verge of saving people's lives. I see an opportunity. Why can't we put a firm there, support that firm, and make sure that the drugs and medicine and vaccines that are being produced there can benefit real people who are lab technicians that are there developing and producing the medicine and the vaccine. So medical profession, technology, the restaurant, entertainment are all options. Now in terms of the residential development, I don't know where your property is. That might be a conversation we might want to have. And I'd like to look at specifically why, if it is higher, then the reasons why it is. Part of it, I can tell you, with the bigger developers, the ones who are building 100 or 200 homes, part of it is Elk Grove is very new. Like I said before, good feng shui, right? Being new, we have to find the funding to build the roads, the sewer. You have to make sure that police is well funded. And what we're beginning to see here is it's a brand new city where we just have to take the proper fees so that we can invest it into our community. But I wouldn't just rest on that particular answer. I would be interested specifically in where your properties are and what fees you're referring to, because maybe there's some way in which we can work with that. I don't know. But until I look at the property specifically, I won't be able to give a proper answer. So I hope that helps.
OK， 咁Stevely 大概就好長啦嚇，咁但係主要係回應佢問題為主嘅。咁但係喺即係呢一節完之前啦，即係since time is valuable, we still have two more guest speakers. So I'll be here. Thank you, Stevely, for coming and answering people's questions. And for my own words, in my own words, I'm so thankful we have a mayor that are willing to come here and listen to each of the citizens here in Elk Grove, what we want and care about us looking at the city with the same level of our eyes. Thank you very much, Stevely.
Thank you.
咁喺呢度咧就喺呢個時候咧就休息陣先啦。咁杜麗莎小姐有少少
係啊，我哋咧就好多謝 Steve 啦，但係咧我哋今次咧係一定要我哋呢個 preposition 10係好重要嘅。This is the main focus。OK， 我哋今日嘅 focus， 我哋所有嘅 homeowner 嘅 focus 就係 no on preposition 10。我哋係需要一個 mayor 係比較清啲嘅、清晰啲嘅。唔係一個 mayor 唔知道點樣。We do not. We want a mayor that has to be very clear that preposition 10 is no. Even 我哋個 Gavin Nelson, he say no. And then why, Steve? You don't know. I don't know. I 乜嘢？呢啲咁樣嘅，我哋唔係咁贊同咯。係咁啦。
Do you want me to reply to that?
Yes.
Yeah. As I've stated before, Proposition 10 is not a quick fix. We still are going to face the problem, right? Yes or no, and we're going to still face the problem. No on it does not solve the problem. Yes on it does not solve the problem. My position is exactly that. In order for us to solve this problem, we have to have a continuum of services to address the housing issues across the board. You may not be satisfied with my answer, but I'm telling you the answer as the mayor and as I've seen it, that's the situation. So the fact of the matter is that, yes, we would love to make it easy. We need to address the housing crisis, the housing issue, make affordable housing. We need to allow the property owners to do what they need to do, as you said earlier, right? It certainly would be unfair if that was the case, where there was government restrictions. I'm not supportive of government restriction above and beyond. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes of government. You can't be a government entity and put all these restrictions in where it restricts commerce. And so that's the biggest concern of mine as well. So simply put, honestly, I have no position on it, and I think that, I would support whatever is decided by each and every one of you. But where I stand is I think that the solution to this is greater than just a simple yes or no on Proposition 10. I think the bigger problem here is the fact that there is still a crisis, in our region, in our nation, that we need to address. And in order for us to address that, it has to be multiple things that needs to happen. Not just how can government impose a policy that will restrict the homeowner on doing what they need to do? They need to be able to exercise their freedom in doing what they need because it's their property. You're right. Yeah, the majority of us in Elk Grove are homeowners.
Listen to the
I'm a
just
proud
sentence.
homeowner in Elk Grove, right? I'm not gonna, as a mayor, I'm not gonna stand there and allow people to tell me, wait, you can't do that with your property. That's why I don't have a homeowners association, because I don't want people telling me who parks in front of my house. Yeah, so no, good point. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Those are the paper for you to study.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, so then you can, and the stack of paper.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe
Thank you.
after you read more, you'll probably understand where
Thank you.
it's coming
Appreciate
from.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.